The Central Texas Command Center.
In the heart of the resistance, you're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
DavidIcke.com is his website. Our websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And you can't have the Pentagon and the UN saying aliens may be real and may land soon, and then get mad at David Icke for looking at human history and all the different, reports of this. But we're certainly looking at the fact that the government has admitted that they've had plans to stage landings. And I have no doubt they're gearing up for something, so we'll talk to him in a moment about the problem, reaction, solution. What are they planning to get out of that? Obviously, a unification of the planet under the one world government to the outside threat. But we're going to be discussing that with David here in just a moment. I will take 4 or 5 phone calls for David Icke in the 25 minutes we've got left after he finishes this issue we were discussing. Anything else he thinks is important to talk about. But specific questions for David Icke on the economy, on the brainwashing, on the off-world influences that the government's giving more and more credence to. I mean, I only cover what I can prove, but the media is certainly hyping all this. And the globalists certainly think they're God and act like they are. And there is some type of evil intelligence running this. As a Christian, you'd call it the devil, the old serpent. But we're having a wider discussion about that. Here's the toll-free number to join us, 1-800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. David, we've talked about your view on part of this agenda being real, the other agenda being fake. They admit that for a staged, some type of event that they're hyping at crescendo levels. When do you see them building towards some type of staged event, and why would they do that?
This is the big but at the end of what I said before the break, where I, talked about the reality of non-human life. And, in my latest book, I say this at one point where I'm talking about this very subject. Over the 20 years that I've been on my journey of research all over the world, I've experienced the very different before and after period in the extraterrestrial field. I mean, the before and after a decision was demonstrably made to allow more information about non-human activity to be released bit by bit to the public. And since, of course, the book came out 2 to 3 months ago, as we've been discussing, more and more stories are being put in the media and being given credence and being given official connections to pursue this very situation. But what I also go on to say in the book is that whatever this official disclosure that they're almost certainly leading to, or whatever they say, it's not going to be the truth about what's going on. It's going to be a cover story to get a reaction to advance the agenda we're talking about. And, it's a simple thing. If you want a centralized global dictatorship, and you use, as they do, of course, the technique of what I call problem, reaction, solution, create the problem, get the reaction, do something, and then offer the solution, then if you have a global agenda for global control, then what you need to, in the end...
is Osama bin Laden with green skin.
You need a global problem through which you can offer a global solution. That's what you want, global problems. You don't want just a problem in Utah or something, which someone in Utah can sort out. That you can manipulate Utah.
Hence global warming or terrorism.
Exactly. I mean, this is what I'm going on to say. You're looking at a global war on terror. You are looking at a problem of a global warming, of a global climate change, of course, all made up.
Global poverty.
Trying to sell. And we're looking at, what else are we looking at? A global economic crisis. All these things all these problems, Alex, of course, have global in front of them, because a global problem requires, in the way they're selling it to us, a global solution. Now, what greater global problem can you have? Indeed, as you say, Reagan alluded to it, and others have too, than a global threat to the Earth from a non-human race. And we have the kind of research already in place, as you talked about with Project Bluebeam, which actually talks about using things like a fake alien attack to centralize power. Because what would you do in that situation? What do they do in places like Britain when they go to war? They have a war cabinet. They have a few people, not the whole government anymore, a few people around a little table who are making all the decisions. And what they would suggest, if they could sell this alien threat to the people, is they'd want a global equivalent of a war cabinet controlling all the armed forces to meet the threat. They would have them take a gigantic leap to exactly what they want, and this is almost certainly what we're looking at here. And the speed with which, I mean, I've been tracking this for a while now, a few years, but the speed with which that they're now introducing alien threat or UFOs are real kind of stories into the media suggests that we're not a million miles away from some kind of fake disclosure. And one thing that we should also remember, Alex, this is another thing that I've come across many, many times over the years, is just because we see a craft that looks like what people call a flying saucer or whatever, doesn't mean it's flown by non-human entities. It's anti-gravity technology, and of course, as we well know, the technology across the great spectrum of possibility that they have in the underground bases and the secret projects is light years again ahead of what we see in the public arena. And therefore, when we see this technology, or people see this technology flying around, because it is so apparently in advance of what we see, we think it must be aliens.
Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you.
It has to be. They have this technology, and humans can fly this stuff, and it's not always non-humans that people are seeing, to say the least.
Well, let me throw this out at you, and then we'll let you finish and take calls, David. 10 years ago, or I guess in 99, 11 years ago, I saw headlines in the BBC about Hong Kong markets where you could buy a part rhesus monkey, part jellyfish that glowed in the dark. I saw reports 10, 11 years ago, and actually 12 years ago, had the CEO on, upstate New York, of part spider goats that produce body armor in their milk. So it's not a stretch that they could take, humans, and they, have human cloning, and basically breed a glow-in-the-dark human that looks like a space alien, train them up to be a pilot, brainwash them that they are an alien, have them land on the White House lawn and be the ambassador from Jubal Snopple, or from Planet Pop-Tart. I mean, the sky's the limit. Look at the technology